Good evening. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your financial market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the evening of Tuesday and worth the 4th of March, 2025. Wow. You wake up this morning, you have the tariffs, the stock market goes into a crater. Gold market shoots up, not dramatically, by the way, stopped in many of the areas I thought it might. The dollar tanked, and I'm thinking of what my reports were 2 weeks ago, and I should do another report, but I won't do it on the dollar this time. 2 for 2, I'm pretty good. I don't want to get my first strikeout, if you will, so I'll stay away. It was interesting to watch natural gas shoot up today because the 10% tariff on Canada that was put on the energies shot that up, yet you were watching the other parts of the market come down in price, the Brent and so on. So you've got to pay attention to that. Your bonds and notes, of course, shot up today as traders ran to them for safety. And we took down the 2-year note under 4% during the day, and we were down to like 4.19 in the 10-year. So big moves happening there. Currencies were everywhere. That's the best way to say it. Now, why are we up in the stock market behind me tonight? And we'll get to this in a minute. U.S. Secretary of Commerce Lutnick, and I don't believe he did this on his own in any manner. It's too new in the administration. I believe he's a follower, and I think that President Trump said, go give a leak here. Go do something. And I think that was it. In other words, go out and say that President Trump will meet Mexico and Canada in the middle on tariffs, possibly as early as tomorrow. So what that means is cutting them. Does not mean removing them. He wants the pressure to stay on. He said he'd put on 25%. He did, but now he's probably ready to give credit for the things that they've done. Trudeau made a very good case for everything Canada has done, and I realize Trump insulted him again by calling him Governor Trudeau. I don't respect that. I don't like that at all. And when I saw what happened there and his arguments, they were good. Sheinbaum out of Mexico, the same. She went into all the things. She has stayed much more beautifully political. The woman knows what she's doing. She said, we can do our thing on Sunday. Why not? His speech is tonight in front of the U.S. Why do you attack him going into that? Maybe you get something for that. I think she's playing it right. Doesn't mean she'll win with him, but I think she's playing it right. Oh, another thing. You did see that President Zelensky hasn't offered an apology, and that's what he should do. In order for this president he wants a public apology. He's not getting it. But Zelensky did everything right up to that line. He wants to make a deal, blah, blah. And now I am hearing that a deal is going to be announced tonight on the minerals with Ukraine. If the president mentions that, it means that they're buddies again, not good friends, but things are getting straightened out if it's mentioned. The U.S. Mortgage Bankers Association is going to update their market numbers tomorrow. You know, mortgages probably fell for another week in a row. So that's good news. However, that's going to be offset by these tariffs. So you get a break on the mortgage, but the cost of a new home is going to go skyrocketing on you if these tariffs stay in place. Think of lumber, think of gypsum walls that come in from Canada. A lot of products we get to build a home are Canadian products. S&P Global Group is going to release their final, and the keyword here is final, February service sector PMI, and that's at 845. Then the ISM is going to come out with their February service sector index at 9, and factory orders coming out at 9 o'clock. So lots of things that we'll deal with tomorrow. But as you can see behind me, the stock market off of Secretary of Commerce Lutnick's statement lifting up. Gold market tried to rally on that, but it's backing off. And again, I think the bears sold today. Doesn't mean I'm right, but that's what I think they did in the market. We'll see. So when you take a look at the S&P, we're getting a correction. Now, you know, if we get a correction here, could we get a 20% correction? Maybe. You have to look at the high to the low. And one of the things that you're not hearing, and I write about it tonight, and I give a good detailed explanation, is you're not hearing the president talk how well the stock market is doing. I think that what we will have is a Trump put if the S&P breaks 10% or more. and gets into correction territory. I think that will very much get his attention, because when in his first term, all he did is talk about how the stock market owes him, and it's because of him. We all know that. And we will see if that comes back. Again, I remember what I drew for you here, and I had pointed out we had a rising wedge that didn't work, and this was the collapse. What is far enough is the question. Are we going to get a 10%, 20% break? I doubt it'll be more than 20, but you could get that. When we look at the chart action, it's bearish. You've got lower highs, lower lows. You've broke, you're getting a bounce, that's all you could say. It's the first move under the 200-day moving average, and you hear me say over and over that the first attack of a 200-day average on the upside or downside often results in, over time, the market trying to turn away from it. And as it turned out here, way back, had you bought that one, look what the market did up until just recently. Here too, you broke, but you didn't get back to the 200 days. So we'll see. You're riding the lower Bollinger Band, which is bearish. That means you've got an embedded reading trying to develop, but you haven't got it yet. Both numbers are not staying under 20. They got to stay under it for several sessions in a row. You're not there. You're in an oversold condition that if you were paying me to teach you and you were sitting at my side, you get an elbow. What are you supposed to do when you hit that 200-day? I might even hold some private classes this year. Lower highs, lower lows coming down, and you could see running that band still in the NASDAQ. Again, not embedded. When you embed, you change the character of the market. It goes from being oversold to locking in a trend, and the rallies start getting sold aggressively by the pros. I teach. Doesn't mean I'm right, but that's what I teach. You're not there. You're just playing in an oversold territory. The same identical thing happened in the March E-mini micro Dow, and notice where it went. Hit today the 200-day average and gave you a bounce away. You can play at that a little bit. Wouldn't surprise me. The most bearish of the markets is the Russell. I have been a broken record all of last year. I'm still a broken record on it. You had a bearish crossover just happen. You see the red line getting under that 200, and you've gone down to make new lows. And here is your embedded reading. Now, if it's let me show it, by the way. You can't count today as part of the reading because we don't know where today will finish up. But we know both numbers were under 20 yesterday, the day before, and the day before. So you have the reading. Now, in order for the reading to be lost, you have to close over 21. You're not, and nowhere near it. You're at 1707. But if you do that, then I'm looking for price in the 18-day average to rally. In other words, price to rally, that number to fall where the two meet. Until that happens, good rallies in the market. There's a moving average that I teach in my subscriber video, and that's where I think they'll sell the market. I tried to sell the market short today, by the way, in my recommendations. Didn't get filled. The 10-year note. Higher lows, higher highs, and you're flirting with losing the embedded reading. If it gets lost, earlier it was lost when I was setting the charts up. So near the lows of the day, you were under the 80 reading. If you get a reading under 79, I think prices can return here. This is where the pros are going to look at this market right here, right now, and they're probably nibbling and saying, if I go in, what do? I've got to go through what the president says. Will the market stay up or down? I promise you, they're going to be in front of their screens on every word, watching what's going on. Keep your eye on this market. It's going to be interesting to watch. Same thing in the 2-year, but not as much. But this is what happens when you rally like that. You force the embedded. If you lose it, look for the correction to begin. If you don't lose it, there could be more rally even coming. And what if Lutnick was set up as a disappointment and we hear not a word, not one word about Ukraine and the U.S. and the other part of it, that maybe there's going to be some movement on the tariffs? I don't know, nor do you. Remember, Trump likes to set things up and then disturb them. In the dollar index, you're down, oversold, hit the lower Bollinger Band. You tried to stall how many times at that 18-day average? You finally just went through it today, and that should be where the market makes its first real attempt now between here and these the two moving averages to try to figure out what is next. In the euro, you're up and over the upper Bollinger Band and overbought. I think the pros yesterday, not today. That's, by the way, yesterday is today. Remember what I'm saying here. We're already looking on the chart now at Wednesday's action, but today I think they came out of longs against the 100-day average in the upper Bollinger Band and just said the high percentage of keeping going isn't there now. British pound, the same thing I mentioned yesterday. If you run, look for the problem to be the 200-day average and right here. This is not a trending market. It's a momentum market more than it is anything else, and it's a difficult one right here. Bitcoin. All right, what do you do with this baby? All right, if you take a look today's lows, just to give you an idea, this was the close today. You came back and finished 1,000 higher, but look, you went to 81,760. You got up to 95.75, a $14,000 swing between Sunday night when Trump released his post on maybe the U.S. should become buying of Bitcoin and other of these different cryptos for a reserve as a form of like a gold reserve. Well, that cost those traders one heck of a lot. You know, I don't consider a 15% break or more to be minor. And we're dealing in thousands, not a dollar here and a dollar there. The market went back to the Bollinger Band, found its support. We'll find out what it is. I see no trend. On the energies, I still see a downtrend. I see more supply coming on. I see tariffs. Even if Trump meets halfway, it is a tax on the economy. Europe is next. Other parts of Asia are next on April 12th. I have a very difficult time wanting to be long energy markets. They are the ones that, to me, just there's no sense in it whatsoever. Not as a chartist at this point, at least, and as a fundamentalist. Look for your 18-day average. It's starting to get ready to cross under the 100. Another bearish reading. Heating oil down. Remember, the weather's going to improve, folks. But heating oil is also jet fuel. But jet fuel, there's going to be problems. Did you look today at the Carnival Airlines, not airlines, Carnival lines, the cruise ship lines, Marriott, some of the other stuff? I look at it all because I do a spider ETF, stock ETF in this. And people are scared. And when they're scared, they don't do anything. This is not a time you're running out and you're spending money foolishly. You might be smart to run out right now and buy some durable good items you need before the prices go up, because there are going to be impacts to the tariff, even if they're only half of what was just put on. But we get a lot from China. You got to be careful and pay attention. And in that gas, you went up to the upper band. You know what I'll tell you. I think the pros ran for the hills. So what do you want to do tonight? Two things. You want to look and see what the president says, have a screen open, ideally our QT mobile, so you can watch all the different quotes, what is going on, where they're doing it, how the market's reacting, and take advantage of our free offers, including my research. You can see what our clients get from Linn, things of that nature. Go to iraepstein.com, free offers. There'll be an icon up here if you're on a PC to move around. You can always call my staff. I'm Ira. I'll catch up with you in the morning.